Hey gang, welcome back to the Ashland Fly Shop Regional Fishing Report for the first of the year 2020. Happy New Year, everyone. All right, we got some updated stuff for you. We're gonna get right into it. All right, Rogue River, where we typically start, where we are fishing the most, our backyard. It's pretty much a carbon copy, I would say, of our last report, going back a couple weeks. Low flows, cold river, lots of fog, not a ton of precipitation, but we're still seeing those lingering summer fish. Those short little bursts of a few fish coming in here and there with a couple bright spots. Our guide Stuart Warren was out a few days ago and had a really good day, got a few summers, and he feels like he got a couple winters out there as well. So you can have those days this time of year where you run into him, but I know he's been out the last few days and we went out with him as well. And we just got like one fish and another. We didn't fish real hard, but one fish, another grab. So it's very typical for this time of year. That's kind of what we see. I'm sure you can probably go out and find, if you're nymphing, you can go out and find, where some of these summer fish are kind of stuffed in there, staging to get up into the tributaries, and you might get a few fish in a run or something like that. So there's potential for that this time of year, but mostly you're kind of poking around, looking around, and if you're kind of new to the area, you're just walking into a couple spots, there's a good chance that, you'll get blanked, because there's just, not that kind of fresh mix in the river. So 900 CFS coming out of the dam, temperatures between hovering around the mid 40s for water conditions. So fishing in the afternoon is really going to be the way to go. We have a lot of valley fog right now, which really locks in the cold air and cold water. But if you are going out, T11, T14 sink tips, if you're swinging flies, moderate to large size flies, dark colored flies, you really want to get their attention. That's really the way to go right now. You want that slow swing. You want to get, it's kind of like winter steelhead fishing, but for these kind of later summer fish. Nymphing, same as it ever was. Big stones, eggs as droppers, copper johns, things like that. No need to really switch that up at all. It's just about finding the fish and getting on them. So so that's where we're at. We're looking at a pretty good mix of weather coming up if we get it. We've had a lot of stuff just go right by us this year, which has really sucked. But looks like this week we're gonna get a good mix of rain and should get some varying flows and get the river juiced up anyway. And a lot of controversy about when we see summer fish and how many we see and all that in the upper river. But if we get a good shot of rain, that mid-February time, I usually feel like is a pretty good chance for finding a summer fish, or excuse me, a winter fish if you're gonna find one in the upper Rogue. So that's what we're seeing out there. That's what we're seeing. Klamath River to our south, again, tends to be the best bet. Still seeing some good reports coming in from that upper stretch, Iron Gate down through the I-5 area. We do really enjoy fishing that this time of year. It's very similar conditions to the Rogue. They've actually had more precipitation up there, but it's going to be cold. Expect it to be cold water. It can get quite cold down there, but still that kind of low 40s, mid 40s water temps. I think they're at the same 900 coming out of the dam, fluctuating between 1,000. So that upper stretch will be really wadeable. The late summer fish really pack in there, so that can be a good bet and continues to be a good bet. I think not much change there really at all that we've seen. Find a guide if you really want to fish that upper stretch, Iron Gate to Klamath Bridge. That tends to be the most productive. But if you're walking in, down below Klamath Bridge, down below I-5 Bridge, there's some good walk-in stuff there and tends to be pretty productive too. So that's a good bet. The holy water, little trout impoundment up on the upper rogue. That's chunk up by the hatchery. We went up and fished a little bit the other day and did some filming, and it was tough. It was tough. You know, when we go out and film, we're not like really digging in and really going for it, but we found it pretty difficult to find a fish, swinging flies and stripping flies and stuff. We did, however, see a decent little micro hatch of blueing olives, which is a hell of a lot of fun up there in the wintertime. So I have to kind of think that that's happening on a regular basis when you're having overcast or fog, whatever up there. And that's really going to be like an 11 to 3 sort of proposition, 11 to 2 proposition if those bugs are going to come off. And I have lots of feelings about how to fish that the best. So happy to talk to anyone about that. But being up there and even sitting on your butt at like 10 o'clock and watching a prime spot where you see those flies come off and waiting for that to happen and being there as soon as it starts is a tip I can share with you now. I think that's a good bet. But you got to have the right flies, got to have the right size tippet, you know, 6X, small bugs, but they will eat. And I've had some really fun days up there, and I encourage you to go up there and check it out. And then if you miss a hatch or it doesn't happen, you do have the, you know, the swinging flies or nymph fishing to fall back on if you want to try and find a fish. But it's a good, decent time to fish up there, damn cold water, and it just kind of suppresses those fish a bit. So, but you know, it's something to do. Time to start thinking about the North Umpqua a little bit for winter. It can be really good up there. I think the North Umpqua is one of the better swing fishery options in the winter. You can fish sink tips up there in the winter, and I believe you can fish weighted flies. So the regulations are a little bit different through the winter time. So that can be good. Boy, there's some exceptional fish. It also fishes fairly late. You can fish, I believe, through March, I think even into April up there. So the North Umpqua for a winter fishery, walk-in winter fishery is if you really enjoy fishing for winter fish, it's something to put on the map. I'm sure they're starting to find them in the lower stretches of the Umpqua. But we don't, again, with the North, we don't have the most current, you know, feedback always, but just more of a general outlook. And yeah, it could be good. They've gotten, you know, 5 times the rain that we've gotten. So that system should be pretty juiced up, and there should be fish moving through there. And we'll try our best to keep you updated about that. Last but not least, the coast, Southern Oregon coast, which we try to pay attention to as best we can. We've seen some awesome fish come out of the coast already with a couple little bumps that we've seen, a couple little bumps of water. I've seen a couple really nice fish and heard a couple great close calls out there. So it is time to be out there stalking around and looking for those chromers out there, and that's an outstanding fish out there. So yeah, the coast is really something. We don't try to get too detailed about it, but you know, some of the larger systems, a lower rogue, Chetco, you know, those can be good bets, and you just really got to watch the flows. You got to ride those flows and weather conditions out there. But it's a lot of fun. If you want to take a couple days, go sleep in your rig out there, drive around and get to know it. It's a really cool, beautiful place to be, and an awesome fishery. And we do have an opportunity this year to see if we can get a no-kill on the Rogue and those Southern Oregon coastal rivers, which honestly I think are the most important rivers to protect in the whole Southern Oregon Western region. So wish us luck on that, and hopefully we will see a no-kill wild steelhead in the South Coast for the remainder of 2020. Great, that's what we got. If you have any questions, any follow-up information, please give us a call here at the shop. We're always happy to help, always happy to point you in the right direction. It's our pleasure, and appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.